Alright, that should be recording. Good afternoon. My name is Gabriel Delgado. Welcome to my channel. You can actually just go with Gabriel, Gabi, G, Gabe. Really doesn't matter to me. You know, pick your poison. Now, I think the last I left off with a little bit of talk of the three processes I undertook. So there was self-inquiry, dreaming, meditation in that order. Obviously, I had a little catalyst. Spoke about that, the psychedelics. Didn't say too much on any one of them. Don't want to delve too deeply into either one until it's time. Should start off with self-inquiry or probably even dreaming. But one of the coolest ones I found was actually meditation. So I figured I'd talk a little bit about that for today. Obviously, you're going to want to pick your stance. A lot of people recommend that you do that in full lotus or, some kind of sitting position. Those are the most comfortable. They make it very apparent, make it much easier for people. If you're a little bit advanced in the practice, you can actually move it up a step, incorporate pain into your practice. A bunch of old people a long time ago, they used to ritualize tolerating pain in order to overcome their limited self-identity. Personally, I don't think that the methods they came up with are very conducive to our day and age. I like to think that you should work smarter, not harder. So I believe that, the horse stance qualifies as such a position. Because if you've ever tried to go into a horse stance, it fucking hurts. It hurts. Maintaining that for a long period of time, while at the same time trying to meditate, it hurts. It's not easy, but it's cool. So either way you decide to go about this, you're either sitting or you're doing it in horse stance. The goal here, there could be many goals. I've heard there are many different ways of doing that. I, of course, use self-inquiry for self-inquiry, dreaming for dreaming. So when I went to meditation, I picked a specific goal for the practice that most aligned with what the practice was about. Since I'm not dreaming, and when you dream, it's like you take off all these limiters in your mind and the outside world can be anything you want it to. And as a matter of fact, the outside world will reflect your inner being. But you can't do that in meditation. In meditation, when you sit down and you're meditating, there are influences, causes, and effects arising and passing. But none of that influences what's going on outside, for the most part. When I'm staring at the wall, or I'm staring at some dot, everything pretty much stays the same. Looks like I left one of the dogs outside. Alright. So, you can't really, the environment doesn't really change at all. It stays exactly as it is. And that's the cool thing about meditation. Quit running from me, little bastard. Alright. Let's go let her do her thing. She'll figure it out eventually. Inside? Oh, she does want to go inside. Inside? Oh, shit. Okay. So, there you are, You're trying to sit, you're trying to do your horse stance, whatever it is. And you got to look at this one thing. And you got to keep your eye on it. You can't let it go. Right? That's pretty fucking cool. It limits, it limits what you have to work with. Because there's only so much bandwidth in your brain for doing many different things at once. So, if you put all your attention into hearing, that actually takes away from your ability to pay attention to what you're seeing, tasting, smelling, feeling. Same thing if you put all your attention into what you're seeing, it's going to take away a little bit from your hearing, from your, and then, you got your whole open awareness meditation, where you're not trying to take away from any one single part. You're not trying to add to any one single part either, though. You're just letting the thing be what it is and trying to find yourself in that. And for the most part, they're going to say you're aiming for emptiness. You could aim for emptiness. You could aim for an elastic self or a expanded identity. There's many different things to aim for in this practice. Let's keep it simple for now, and let's just aim at what we're looking at, or what we're listening to. We're just going to take the baby steps here. We're going to go with the smallest things possible. We're just going to focus on that. And that's how we're going to meditate. Okay, and again, you can do it sitting or doing the horse stance. Standing up, I mean, it's no different really than sitting. But you know, the horse stance at least puts pressure somewhere. And you can say some pressure is applied while you're standing. But this is mostly what your focus is going to be. There you are, you're doing your thing. What's going to happen while you're doing your thing? Well, it depends. If you were sitting, it's going to take a while for the pain to hit you. If you were doing a horse stance, it comes right away. But eventually, you're going to meet up with some pain, some discomfort. You're going to start jostling your body. You're going to do this, you know. You're trying to find your right position and shit. You're going to wiggle around and shit. You know, until, you know, this stage where you're wiggling around and all that shit, I look at that as a stage where you're getting rid of all your old habits until you reach a stage where you're able to just stand still, or I mean, sit still, or horse stance still, you know? And once you get to that stage, things in life that you meet up with aren't going to be quite as uncomfortable. They're not going to be quite as in your face. You know, you're going to have developed a taste for how to appreciate these moments a little bit better. And that's a good starting point, you know, that lets you know you're getting somewhere with this stuff. You know, it's not just bullshit, you know, because now your daily interactions are improving. But, of course, you got to get from that point where you're, like, doing all this shit to the point where you're just right there in the moment, staring at whatever you're staring at, or listening to whatever you're listening to. You know, if you need, like, good sounding music or fancy smells, go with it. I ain't got no fucking problem with that. I mean, just don't forget what the goal in mind is, that you got to learn how to tolerate yourself just as yourself without anything entertaining it, like memory, plan, fantasy, blah, 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 blah. You're trying to be in the moment, trying to be here and now. You don't need anything else. You should be able to have a party of parties, you know, body-wise, without needing to depend on thoughts to elicit that, or needing to depend on a comfortable position or a fancy smell. So, you know, you start off with, you know, whatever baby tracks you need. You know, if you need to put something in your pocket, just so that you feel the baby steps are easy to tackle, go ahead, put it in your pocket. I don't care if it's showing. Put it in your pocket, you know. But eventually you have to realize that if you want to go further, you want to progress further in this practice, you got to take these things away too, you know. And you've got to just deal with self and not deal with self as world, you know. And that technically ends up being a meditative path. If you are successful on this path, there may come a time when what you see, what you hear, what you feel begins to change the flavor of what it used to be. You know, no longer tastes the same, it no longer looks the same, it no longer sounds the same, it no longer feels or smells the same. You know, that's gonna happen. It's a beautiful thing when you're going through. Don't get it twisted. You want to shout out, damn, it's a beautiful thing? I got no problem with that. Shout it out. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. What I'm going to say at this point, though, is you still got a little further to go. You know, enjoy it while it's there. You've got much further to go. By the time you're done with this whole thing, it won't ever be there again. You know, everything just returns back to the ordinary. You know, and you're just, you know, much more capable individual in the ordinary. But, you know, on your way from ordinary to ordinary, many fantastical things can happen. One of them, which I found to be absolutely thrilling, was achieved when I finally let go of this need to be oriented in space and time in order to deal with the pain that was occurring in that moment. Because again, you know, I did it in horse stance, so I was in solid pain. But, you know, at some point, I just had to deal with that. And so I closed the distance with that. I came to love it for what it was. And then the next thing I know, 2 hours pass, I'm still in this position. But there's no pain. You know, there's no reaction to pain. I mean, I'm sure, you know, at some level it's still there. The muscles are still going, fuck. But my mind somewhere developed a habit that allowed that fuck to become a just sat with that, And then when it happened to me, 2 hours were over, I stood up, I looked at the clock, and I noticed 2 hours did pass. That's when it hit me like a ton of bricks. I don't know if it'll hit y'all like a ton of bricks. It hit me like a fucking ton of bricks. From the moment I knew the taste, I fucking chased it right into cessation. This is when you let go of self-world. You no longer need to be oriented in space or time. And the observer, this self that has always been with you, disappears. The motherfucker pulled a magic trick. He just fucking up and vanished. So what does that feel like? Well, people who've been under anesthesia probably understand what I'm talking about. One moment you're there, and then nothing. The next moment you're back. And in between the gone and the return, a lot of shit happens. That was one of the most twisted parts about my whole experiment, was when I noticed that, okay, from the minute I disappear and the minute I come back, I'm asking everybody, what was I doing during these times? And they're looking at me like I'm crazy, like, dude, you were just being you. We were just playing video. What the fuck are you talking? We were just playing video games. And I'm like, well, isn't that fucking interesting? I didn't even have to be here to play video games with them. And obviously from the reactions, I wasn't being a dick. So it was automatic. And in some ways magical. I kind of like. Now that period in life, when you're at that point of meditation, that can take a while to integrate. It is possible. It takes a while to integrate. You'll hear Buddhists call it about as, it feels like you're dying and coming back, dying and coming back. When I felt that, it didn't feel like I was dying and coming back. It was the greatest moment of my life. It wasn't until afterwards that it would feel like I was dying and coming back. But we can talk about the afterwards way later. It's not even broached that subject yet. But yeah, no, it's the primordial perfection. A great primordial perfection. But yeah, that exists in meditation. So as you're sitting down, I want you to understand, lots of things are going to happen. Magical, fantastic things. They're all real. They're all sensory based. They have nothing to do with anything differing from what reality is. Reality just stays what it is the entire fucking time. Reality is just reality. Your perspective on reality changes. So sitting, or horse stand, or standing, or laying down, or doing a yoga, these all have their benefits. I personally prefer just, either sitting or doing a horse stance. Everything else is kind of convoluted. You never know where the imbalances appear. With the horse stance, once you get into the horse stance, you start adjusting your horse stance, you're going to find a great center line. When you find that center line, it's going to adjust the rest of your body for you. Because it's going to force a posture. It's going to force a correction in everything you're doing. So I can trust the horse stance and I can trust the sitting. I didn't try the other ones because I can't trust that. You got one leg up in the air, one leg going down. You got one arm going this way, one arm going that way. It's too many imbalances as far as I'm concerned. But that's up for other people to decide, Hopefully one day, they start doing study groups and shit. We start figuring out what's what, and, what really works, what really doesn't. But for now, understand that the whole point of meditation isn't to become some enlightened being or to turn into a wild fox or learn some fancy little magic trick. In the end, it's still the same thing as anything else that really does improve your life. It's about learning who you are, what it is that you really want from life, how it is that you can really go about getting it, giving you the tools you need to go about getting it, to go about acquiring new skills that you can use in your life, and obviously all these things are going to reduce your own suffering, but then you're going to meet up with the last problem. Your reduced suffering can only take your fulfillment so far. Without the fulfillment of others, without them also finding their way, you're going to find that You're going to be bopping around in life and you're in this state, but everyone else isn't there with you. You know, they're in a different world. They get angry when this happens. They get sad when that happens. You know, they're shocked by the occurrences of the natural world. But that's only because there's only so much bandwidth in the brain. And they had it all focused on the self. It's kind of hard to spread that bandwidth out and observe nature for what it is when you're really just focused within. So meditation allows you to focus out as opposed to within. Dreaming is all about the within. You know, dreaming is its own little critter. We'll talk about that one later. But meditation is all about the out. You know? And through the out, you work the in. You know? So, yeah, it's pretty much my nutshell. I think I've been going on this for like about 10 minutes. Yeah, 16 minutes, something like that. Don't want to take up too much of your time, you know. Life is short. So, hopefully this video finds you well. And peace.